Shalom. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem HaKakwadash, and don't watch the apostles and others, great millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother, I am Noah Allah from GMS Chicago, and this is going to be a lesson about, current events, right? A lot of things has happened within this week, and as we all have known by now is that the U.S. has retaliated against Iran with strikes, all right? But that was a false report. The United States didn't end up destroying any Iran's nuclear sites, but they definitely did hit Iran. So that was direct conflict from the U.S., right? And now you have Iran targeting U.S. bases over there in over there in the Middle East right now, right? And there's this they're talking about ceasefire, all right? Trump is calling for a ceasefire after that major escalation has occurred, but we don't understand that, all right? There is going to be no ceasefire, all right? All what you're just gonna see is more tensions, all right, that are going to spark up. But here's First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. I'm gonna start with verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And right now, people are still in that spirit of, peace and safety. Right? Yeah, there was escalations going on and shit over there in the Middle East. There's still tensions that are rising, all right? You got Israel getting destroyed with missiles right now. Not completely, but, they're getting hit with missiles right now, and of course, you got Israel hitting Iran back, all right? And these people over here in America, all right, and all over the world, all right, these people are in the mindset of peace and safety, right? They don't think that destruction is coming, all right? They think that this will only last for a little while and then boom, everything will go back to normal. But it says peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child. And that's right. I was getting ready to break loose. All right. There will be no peace talks. There will be no ceasefires or any of that shit. All right. Because the Lord, at the end of the day, is mustering the battle. All right. Yeah. The Lord is the one in control. Right? He's controlling your rulers. Right? And all these, these rulers on this earth today, such as your presidents or your governments, whatever. All right. They're going to war with each other. Right? It says the noise of a multitude in the mountains like a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. And yeah, the Lord is the one that is in control. All right. The Lord is the one that put the spirit on these kings, such as Trump, right? You got Netanyahu, whatever the fuck his name is. And Iran's head, all right, that are basically going to war at each other right now. But all that, the Lord is the one that's mustering the host of the battle right now. Right? He's the one who is in control, and he's the one that is pulling the spirit with these rulers, all right, to go to war with each other. Nonetheless, I'm going to go back to peace and safety. It says, but ye, 1 Thessalonians 5 and 4, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief, right? Because they're, the Lord's watchmen are standing upon the watch, all right, linking the prophecies with the scriptures. All right, we know what time that we're in, and we're seeing that, things are going to just escalate, all right, until the Third World War. Before that happens, the R4D microchip is going to come in first. But 6 verse 5, and ye are the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Now, we got to continue to watch, all right? Got to continue to watch what we see on the news, right? Because not everything is true. Right now you got Esau's pushing for propaganda. But yeah, prophecy is definitely being made manifested right before our very eyes, showing you that, we're entering into the beginning of sorrows, or the time of Jacob's trouble. And we know that the returning of Yahushua is near as well. But nonetheless, let's go into current events, all right?
Well, Iran's parliament voted on Sunday to close access to the Strait of Hormuz. According to Iran's state television network Press TV, a final decision would still have to be made by Iran's top security officials. But a move to do so could have significant ramifications on the global economy. The Strait of Hormuz is located in the Persian Gulf and connects the body of water to the Arabian Sea. It's bordered by Iran to its north and the UAE and Oman to its south, with large tankers sailing through daily with around 20 million of barrels of oil, according to a U.S. Energy Information Administration report. The same analysis found that more than a quarter of all oil traveling by ocean flows through the strait as of this year. Additionally, after a fifth of global liquefied natural gas travels through it, in 2024, the U.S. only got about 7% of its total crude oil from ships traveling through the Strait of Hormuz. Asian nations are at a much greater risk of losing access to oil supplies. The U.S. Energy Information Administration.
So yeah, you got Iran that's threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz. And then what's this doing is that really, is going to affect those countries over there in Asia, all right? And it's only going to impact their economy, all right? And that's just going to make, all right, the U.S.'s allies, all right, NATO and the EU, hate America even more, all right? And then, that really fitly connects the scripture, all right, that the beast shall hate the whore, all right, NATO and the EU, because all this chaos, all right, is really just being done by America, right? For starting this, retaliation. Well, yeah, for starting this attacks, with their strikes on Iran, right, only to intensify this conflict even more.
Noted that Asian markets received 84% of all crude oil and 83% of all liquefied natural gas shipped through the strait, with China, India, Japan, and South Korea as the largest buyers. Globally, though, economic experts are concerned that closing the strait could raise oil prices. Oil prices fluctuated throughout Monday as the market reacted to the U.S. strikes, then Iran's retaliatory strike in Qatar. So, how would Iran approach shutting the strait down? Military experts have suggested a few options, including laying mines across Iran's territorial waters going through the strait, or targeting vessels sailing in the Gulf towards the strait. Iran has done that in the past. During the 1980s, commercial ships, even U.S. Navy ships, got caught in the crossfire during the Iran-Iraq War when both countries attacked ships traveling through it. Over the past 2 decades, the Strait of Hormuz has also been the site of several confrontations between the Iranian and U.S. navies.
But yeah, things are only going to escalate, all right? You see here on the news, you go into Google, all right, they're talking about sleeper cells that are already in the U.S., and really it's all just plain chaos, all right? You saw what Esau did, all right, how the elites used Biden, all right, to get him to open the border to all these foreigners that came into the country. You had age fighting men, from all these other countries like Russia, Chinese, all right, Iran, of course, and all these other nations, all these foreign nations that came through the border when the border was open to, basically everybody. All right, so these sleeper cells, all right, they're already here in the U.S. They're talking about that, they're about to activate and shit like that. Iran threatened to unleash attacks by sleeper cells inside U.S. if it was attacked. Right, so these, planned chaos is, just is right around the corner. And you're also hearing about cyber attacks as well. How it can threaten, how Iran is threatening, alright, cyber attacks against the U.S. to, shut off the water supply or so, or mess with the water supply. Alright, these companies need to be on high alert from Iran cyber attacks, says trusted sect CEO. Alright, cyber attacks that can disrupt the U.S.'s electrical grid, right? The power grid. So it's pretty much recent news, and then yeah, this next major event, all right, that's gonna take people by surprise when they least expect it. All right, Esau is gonna basically use that orchestrated chaos to ultimately blame it on these other nations like Iran, all right, China or Russia. All right, so that's getting ready to happen. But for great tribulation. But yeah, a lot of shit is happening on the news that you see on the news, right? And it's only going to get worse. But it says, Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time no ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And, of course, the Lord is shortening the days for the elect's sake. Alright? And yeah, there's going to be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world. A time like no other, alright, that we're coming into. Alright? And, we're about to see cyber attacks, bio attacks, biological attacks. Alright? And it could very well happen this summer or, this fall. Right? Because that's what it's beginning to look like. And, not to forget, but you also got Klaus Schwab, all right, years ago has warned about, cyber attacks. All right, so really all this chaos that's about to unleash is really just all planned chaos from Esau. All right, because he knows that he has nothing but a short time. Fuck. Let's get a load real quick. It's locking. The only ones that are going to make it out of Jacob's trouble is the Lord's elect. Alright? But this is getting ready to happen on an intense scale. But it says, like in Ezra 16:70, for thou shalt be in every city, there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Alright, an insurrection against the hopeful elect, those who fear Yahweh Bashem, Yahushai, because the Lord's elect are keeping the word of the Lord's patience. Alright. Then shall they be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling, destroying those that fear the Lord. And Esau, we know that Esau is coming down with that great wrath. Right? He's about to declare martial law, and he has basically everything set in place for this moment to be unleashed. Alright? Order Abkael. Right? Problem, reaction, solution. The next major event is just right around the corner. And now Esau has an excuse, alright, to declare martial law, because once that next major event pops off, alright, that's it. It's over. It's over with, Esau's going to declare martial law, and shit's about to get hectic out here in the streets of America. But it says, they should be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away the goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. And yet, of course, the Lord's elect are going to go through Jacob's trouble, but hey, they're going to be saved out of it. All right. First, we got to go through that fire. We're going to be tried. All right. And the scriptures tell you that through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of heaven. So yeah, we're going to catch a lot of hell here and there. But that's the only way, alright, to make it. Right? Because the Lord needs to try us, as gold is in the fire. Making us pure. Getting rid of the impurities that are in us. But it says here, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord, power. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. And that's right, the Lord is the guide of those who keep his commandments and precepts, alright, keeping the word of the Lord's patience, doing the will of the Lord, alright, to the best of our ability, and constantly enduring. Alright, but with that, just want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, and keep your eyes peeled. Shalom.